Many years ago, Yeshiva Leva Torah had the privilege of being in the holy city of Tzfat for Shabbos Chodesh Adar, and the zechus to hear Torah from the tzaddik Rav Koenig, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha. Rav Koenig asked that if we have an idea, mitzvah gedola lios b'simcha tamid, that it's a great mitzvah to always be b'simcha, then what exactly are we supposed to be increasing when it comes to Chodesh Adar? And Rav Koenig said, let's first understand what the word simcha means. Even though we loosely translate it as happy, perhaps it doesn't exactly mean happy. But rather, if we look at Tehillim in Perek of Daled, towards the end of the Perek, David HaMelech tells us, Anochi esmach, I will be simcha ba Hashem, with Hashem. The more that I recognize that Hashem is in charge of the world, the more that I recognize that Hashem is orchestrating all events and that He loves me and that everything is intended for my well-being, so then that will be an increase in simcha. And even though it's mitzvah gedola lios b'simcha tamid, even though it's a big mitzvah to know that Hashem is always in charge of the world, our job during Adar is to be even more God conscious than usual, is to go out of our way to try to recognize where Hashem's hand plays a role in our lives. And Rav Koenig said that if you look at the pasuk of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad in the Torah, so the word Shema and Echad, there are two large letters, the Ayin of Shema and the Dalet of Echad. The Ayin and Dalet together spell out the word aid, and during Kriya Shema, especially during Adar, we should be giving testimony that Hashem is in charge of everything in the world. And interestingly enough, if you take the four other letters of those two words, the Shin and the Mem of Shema, and the Aleph and the Ches of Echad, mix those together and you get Esmach. The testimony is Esmach B'Hashem, that I'm going to live my life with a recognition that Hashem is in the world. And of course we know that that's why perhaps the month of Purim is found in Chodesh Adar. Purim, the time when Hashem's name is not openly in the Megillah, but we know that behind the scenes He's orchestrating everything in the world. So Aleph Dar, Adar, the Echad Dar, Hashem is alive in the world and He's in control of everything. Rav Biderman Shlita told an amazing story a few weeks ago. In Eretz Yisrael during Corona, there was a boy who was having a bar mitzvah. This boy was an orphan. He had lost his father a few weeks ago to Corona. And the mother, just wanting her son to have the best bar mitzvah possible, turned to a tzedakah organization to arrange for something to cheer the boy up, to give him a great event. The tzedakah organization went to one of the musicians in the country, and the musician said, of course I'll go, here's my fee. And they said, no, not fee, orphan, widow, bar mitzvah, Corona, do this one favor, and be misameach, let the boy have a great bar mitzvah. Reluctantly, the musician agreed, but when he got there, he put on quite a performance. The bar mitzvah boy was thrilled. The widow was happy beyond belief. And the musician sat down with the boy, put his arm around his shoulder, and it was an amazing night. The musician felt great, until a few days later he got a call that he has to go into quarantine because the boy tested positive for Corona, and as if it couldn't get worse, the musician himself came down with Corona a few days later. Wondering why this all was happening to him, a number of weeks later, this musician gets a call from a large organization in America that they want to fly him to America to perform at a fundraising event for a number of tzedakah organizations. Where do we get his name from? So they found his name because they read a story of this musician who dedicated his time towards this child. However, there was only one condition for him to be able to come to America, and that is that he had to have already passed Corona. They weren't allowed to bring in somebody who had not yet had Corona and not yet had antibodies. So the only reason why he got this gig that paid so much money, more than the bar mitzvah of the orphan and more than he would have made in those 2 weeks in quarantine, the only reason why he got that gig was because of the time that he dedicated in order to make an orphan feel good at his bar mitzvah. Hashem has ways of orchestrating and working out everything that we need to happen so that we're provided with all our needs. That's the time of Adar. And during this month, we should be marbim, increase our God consciousness. Hashem should help open up our eyes to realize the truth of what's happening in the world and about how much He loves us and is always guiding our lives and events that surround us for our best. Have a wonderful Adar and a great Purim.